I'm Kat Udane of Foxhole Films.
And I'm Michaela McIntosh of Siren of the Pacific Productions.
We're your hosts of the GateCrashers podcast.
Coming to you now. The GateCrashers theme is by Derek Graham Sound.
Let it play out.
On today's episode, we are sitting down with Teresa Catherine, she, her. Teresa Catherine is a multifaceted filmmaker, writer, and actress based in New York City, dedicated to championing women both in front and behind the camera. As the founder of Maid Prince Productions, she intertwines her career aspirations with a mission to foster inclusivity and accessibility in the film industry. Teresa began her filmmaking journey with Joke's on You and Rocket Woman, demonstrating resourcefulness with award-winning shorts created on minimal budgets. She followed those up with Only the Dead and Interiorem, Pueri, Inner Child, shorts with a larger scope and bi-coastal team garnering acclaim on the festival circuit, including Best Horror Short at Raindance, New York City, and the Hot List at Cleveland International Film Festival. Her feature-length scripts, No One Likes a Mad Woman and Descent, were semi-finalists in screenwriting at Flicker's Rhode Island International Film Festival and are currently in development. Teresa earned an MFA in classical acting from the Catholic University of America and a BA in production studies from Clemson University, bringing theatrical expertise to her cinematic endeavors. Beyond filmmaking, she serves as a senior master coach with Solid Core, indulges her passion for guitar playing, albeit a self-proclaimed amateur, and is a proud Swiftie bookworm. Also, heads up, we do talk about our cats for the first probably 6 minutes of this episode, so if you just want to get into the meat, feel free to skip ahead. Toot toot.
Keep talking about biscuits. It really just tickles me to no end. And now, like, he doesn't make them randomly. He only makes them on the bed. So when I'm going to go read before bed, I have to be like, Tybalt, let's go to bed. And he's like, and he runs up to the bed and jumps on the bed and then makes biscuits. But then he makes what the internet calls sin biscuits. So he gets a little like too excited and then starts to like bite and then hump. And I have to be like, no,
Okay.
no, like you can do biscuits. And he's like, right, but I want to do all of it. And then he gets mad at me. And
Sin biscuits.
Yeah. The internet
We don't get those with
biscuits.
Archimedes. Archimedes is very much like, she'll like biscuits on the couch and then try to like burrow into the blanket. She's like taking the big blanket. It is like her thing now.
I am begging Tybalt to enjoy the finer things in life. He still is like, and it's been fucking freezing in New York. So he sits there and he's like, I'm cold. And so I bring him and I put him in a blanket and I like sit on the couch with him. And he's like, this is so nice for like 5 minutes. And he's like, ugh. And then he goes and lies on the like freezing windowsill. And he's like, I'm cold, mother. And I'm like, I know. I don't know why you live this way.
Let me
Heated
care for
windowsill.
you.
Whoever can invent it. $1 million for New Yorkers.
He has a heating pad right in front of it. He's like, hard pass.
Wow. Dang. If I lay out my
You can't
heating
tell men
pad
what
like
to
when
do.
I've been using it, if I ever leave my heating pad out in Canada, I look over and either Tyler's aunt's cat is on the heating pad or she passed, but Tyler's grandma's cat, like infamous for laying on heating pads everywhere.
Yeah. We have a heating
That was
pad because
mine.
my mom's cats were like, she was like, cats love the heating pad. My cat is like,
Yeah.
hard pass. No, want to
I
be
have
cold.
a heated
wanna be-
blanket. I have a heated
didn't
blanket
tell
and I
men anything.
desperately want Archimedes to like get on my lap and be like, but it's like I'm the one enjoying it. She's not interested yet.
And she's
Yet.
like, is this good for you? I'm like, yes, it's
I'm like,
great for me,
come
actually.
closer to me. I'm like, just sit on my lap, please.
Cats.
Take it.
Dead. Done.
Anyway,
It's
welcome
warm
to
here, so-
GateCrashers.
We're just off to the races immediately. There's no
Yeah,
cold
Julie,
open
hit
here.
Talk.
Hit the ground running.
Yeah. Everyone keeps sending me all these videos and like they're like, oh my God, it's so cold. I dug out 2 feet of snow today. And I was like, I went to the pool
There's the
today.
deal.
Look at her. See, she knew.
She's biscuits. She's making biscuits. Okay.
She knew.
Yes.
You went to the
I
pool. I
know.
need less of that. I need less of that.
Tyler and I talk about it a lot, but like we're like, Kat needs to come out here because like Dita Von Teese, we now found this like place called Vanderpumps that we're obsessed with, and they do birdcage charcuterie.
Wait, Vanderpump
Yes.
is like Lisa Vanderpump one of the owners?
Yeah, yep.
Yes.
Yeah, you'll be obsessed. They have,
Heard
I
a
think,
little
3 of
meow.
them.
Was that her? Yeah, the
Yes, I mean, it wasn't
tiniest.
Tybalt's nowhere around here, so it was not Tybalt.
She has the tiniest, most like Victorian child with like consumption meows. She's like,
She needs the vapors.
she's the vape. I have no vapors. Yes.
So she needs to go to the West, She needs
There she is.
needs some good humors.
She's
There
like,
she is.
unhand me, mother. Yes, hello, I love you. I'm sorry. Contact.
Day
Dead.
maid.
I just remember you got Archimedes right before I visited last. It was right before
Yes.
we filmed Cul-de-sac. And I just remember
Yeah.
us laying on the floor next to Kat's bed, just looking at Archimedes under the bed because Archimedes wouldn't come out. And then one time, the last night I stayed, because I was there, I think I was there 4 days, three or 4 days. And the last night I was laying on
Yeah.
the couch and
Yeah.
she jumped on the couch, woke me up. We both looked at each other. She froze. And then the second I moved, like I was going to get up, gone. Like that was it. So she's come a long way.
I think that was major for her realizing that humans were okay, like besides us, like, because she had been starting to tentatively come out for us. Like, I think just seeing some humans sleeping on the couch and she was like, okay, I think this is okay. Yeah. Because she was like, after you left, she was like making appearances. It was
Wow.
great. It was
So
exciting.
good job.
Yeah.
Good job, Michaela.
Yes. Thank you, Michaela.
I have a cat
Yes.
dog.
Soothing. Oh, you do.
I'm a whisperer. Yeah, Simba is like the cat dog. He's more cat than dog.
And
Yes.
Tybalt's got a lot of dog in him because he, in the opposite way, people come over and he's like, "What you doing? Do you need help?" And you're like, "Leave them alone." Like we had somebody come and sort of like, I don't know, do like whatever like lead poisoning tests that you do in New York. And
Yes,
Tybalt
yes.
was like, "I'll help." Like he kept jumping up on things and like trying to grab the guy's like tools off of his tool belt. And I was like, "My man, what are you doing?" So he's very
God.
dog-like,
Yeah.
That's so funny.
except for his austerity. And he's like, "Give me a cold stone floor." You're like, "All right, all right. You're no son of mine, but it's fine."
Oh, that's funny. Well, tell us, how's New York? What's new? How's life?
How's life? Life's, I think I said live, laugh, panic attack. Those are the vibes.
Mhm.
But I also sort of feel, I keep describing it as senioritis, which like I haven't been in school for like 10 years, but I'm just sort of like, when is Christmas break? I just need
Yeah.
a reprieve for 3
That is real.
seconds.
That's very real.
So, it's just like everyone told me, including Michaela, that like making a feature film is just like the most Herculean task. And I was like, it's gonna be fine. And now I'm like, no, they're right. It might kill me. Like in the little like outline of this episode, it was like first feature film ? And I was like, yeah, if it kills me, it will be. And
Yeah.
it might kill me.
So
It's
give us a little backstory for our listeners about how you started Maid Prince Productions, how you kind of veered from acting into also writing and
Yes.
making your own work.
I founded Maid Prince Productions at the beginning of 2021. Mostly I had been watching all of my friends and sister like during the pandemic. We all worked at a fitness studio together. Then we all got fired together. They gave us this whole huge speech that we're going to keep you on. It's going to be great. And then like not 24 hours later, they're like, you're all fired.
Was that 2020? Was that like
Yeah,
lockdown?
that was 2020.
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
And then I was making more money on unemployment than I ever had working just an absurd amount of hours at the fitness studio. And I was like, oh, I'm not going back to that. But
Yeah.
all of my other friends were sort of like trying to turn their creative pursuits into like financial endeavors. So
Mhm.
as I watched them do this, I was like, okay, well, I should also do this. So I, in part, it was really inspiring to watch them do that. And then I feel like everyone has had the same experience of like, there was just this vacuum of you were so desperate to create, you were so desperate to do the thing that you wanted to
Yeah.
do. So I shot a short film called Joke's on You, which is a Harley Quinn fan fiction film.
Fabulous.
Shot
I love
in
it.
October of 2020. And we just like, it was like me and a friend of mine and my sister, and I handed my sister my iPhone and we just like ran around the Lower East Side like on a Sunday morning. And the dialogue is all voiceover. So I gave it to my friend's husband and he plays essentially Scarecrow as Dr. Crane, the
Mhm.
doctor. And I did Harley. And so it was like just a voiceover, like
Fabulous.
montagey sort of thing. And so I made that in October of 2020 and then made Maid Prince Productions in 2021. But I went into this process really kicking and screaming. I really, really, really did not want to be a producer. Like I really wanted to be like just an actor. And I just sort of think that that's a fantasy. I don't think it's real. And I don't think I think it was real at one time. I think it's not real anymore. And I was also sort of always butting up against the fact that I was being offered roles like in school, like in my final year of grad school. I like had a big fight with my professors because I was like, I don't want to play that role. I don't like it. I don't like the story. I don't. They wanted me to be. I'm gonna blank on her name. Who's the lead of Taming of the Shrew?
Kate Katerina.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was like, I hate Taming of the Shrew. I'm not going to play this role. And they're like, you have to. And I was like, actually don't have to. My professor was like, what if the artistic director of the Shakespeare Theater Company called you one day and was like, Teresa Catherine, Tony award-winning actress, we have to have you play Kate. And I was like, well, first off, if I'm a Tony award-winning actress, I don't have to do anything. And if the artistic director of the Shakespeare Theater Company is calling me, I think I have more cachet than like I have to take whatever he like deigns to throw my way.
Yeah.
So I feel like I was already bumping up against the fact that being an actor is really being like a pick-me girl, and I did not like that. And I have always desired more control over the stories that I was going to tell, because if you're going to put all of that sweat equity and time and pain and tears and all the rest of it in, it should be something that you give a fuck about. So that really, I think, that was like germinating in like 2014, but didn't like come to fruition until 2020. I would say I stopped resisting in like 2023. So I still had 2 years where I was like, I have a production company and like, I'll do this like kind of, but also like I still just want to act. And I would say like in sort of stepping into my last 2 short films and then this feature, it has been like, you can't feel like I'm just an actor. You also write, you also produce, and to say that you're just an actor is like dismissive, because even people who exclusively act are more than just that. You have to be every which way. You have to be a business person. You have to be an entrepreneur. You have to be a self-starter. So I don't want to say just an actor because it's really dismissive, but the main sort of drive behind Maid Prince Productions was to see a space where there could be more women involved in all aspects. Every project needs to be female-led, so it needs to be directed, written, or starring a female main character, and then the team has to be 50% female identifying. And I do sort of like make the blanket statement of anyone who self-identifies as she, her is inclusive in the term female or woman for our purposes. Because I feel like you guys feel like this too. There's a lot of people who complain about the industry, and there's a lot of people who like bitch and moan on like social media about how they want it to be different. But if you're not actively contributing to making a difference, then you're just bitching and moaning. Yep. So you have to like actually do something.
And the stats keep coming out and they're not great. And they are pretty bad, to be honest. And I think kind of a little bit of the watching the old system like crumble away is a little satisfying in that it's like, you have never listened to us. So like, I think it was Elaine on the Unclear was like the reason Wicked saved the box office this year was it was really the only film that women showed up for, that like 70% of their attendees were women. We've had really nothing like that since kind of Barbie-ish. And that's why Wicked, there was like, if you look at almost any other film that was in the slate this year, it was like male action star, like, yeah, there were some exceptions to the rule, but it's like we're still living in a system that's still not listening to people. And like who actually wants to go to the theater.
And I have like a micro slate right now of 3 films, and I'm like trying to like chop it around and raise money because one film is not enough. We should do more. But at the start of that micro slate, like document is like the stats of projects that are women led are 6 times more successful in grossing a higher amount of money. And directors also, like female directors also have a high, like overall higher gross for independent film. You're like, this is not just like, these are feel good things and I want to see more women. I'm like, this is just hard numbers. Like, do you want to make money?
Yeah.
Yes or no?
Yeah.
And I kind of think the answer is yes.
Yeah, numbers talk to
Right.
people.
You know, because I can be sort of like woo woo and like girl power, but I'm also like, at the end of the day, like the numbers don't lie. Like they make more money.
Yeah.
So that's a win-win.
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
What was your first?
So everyone
okay.
listen.
Yeah. So we had your Harley Quinn Scarecrow fanfic. When
Yes.
was your next foray?
Let's see. February of 2021, I shot a short called Rocket
Jumping
Women.
in.
Yeah, I shot a short called Rocket Women, and we shot that in Will's parents' garage, and it's all green screen. So I taught myself how to do green screen
Yes.
because
Innovator.
it was very
That's
COVID inspired.
amazing.
An astronaut stuck on the moon and an astronaut stuck on Mars, and they could communicate with each other, but they can't communicate with Earth, and they're stranded on their respective spaces. So it's
I love
all
this.
sort of like vlog or phone call or like a conference call between the two of them. And it's them sort of like dealing with that isolation and trying to figure out how to like work through like being alone and being cut off from everything. And so and then the two of them are trying to game plan how they're going to get home because their equipment won't work, but they can't communicate with NASA, so they can only sort of like problem solve with each other.
Love
That's
this.
fun.
Yeah, Molly and I did that. Molly was stuck on the moon and I was stuck on Mars.
I love
and we shot that.
that.
We shot that over like a day and a half. Like Brian, Molly's husband, and then my boyfriend Will were just sort of like our like catch all of like sort of like being sort of like the production hands.
Yeah.
And
Grips,
then
PAs,
December
everything.
of 2021, I shot the proof of concept for No One Likes a Mad Woman.
You went
and that
all
was the
in,
first
yeah.
time I really did. That was the first time I like hired a team, and it was not my iPhone, and I was not like the jack of all trades. And so that one, I had the idea for No One Likes a Mad Woman in 2018, and I sort of put it away, and then like pulled it back out, and then I was sort of like, I think I'll be satisfied if I just do like a little short film. And then we made it and I was like, I am not satisfied. This project is much larger. But
when did you come to that realization?
I started with just a monologue, and then that monologue became a scene. And then I wrote a short film that we ended up not shooting. And then I wrote a different short film with the same characters. But we were the scene that I wrote takes place like in a prison, and we couldn't find what we needed at my price point to make it happen. So I wrote a new scene that took place in the woods, and then we had no locations.
Yep.
And we shot everything outside.
So smart. So smart.
So I had to, both of those scenes exist in the feature. But I was just sort of like, for practicality and for like, I'm funding this myself, and it is my first time like bringing together like a team. I need it to be more manageable than the like very ambitious short film that I had originally written. And we shot that in December of 2021.
Because you get into crowdfunding in your later short films, which we'll get there when we get there. But what was your decision to self-fund versus, or did you not know about crowdfunding yet? What was that decision for you?
I had crowdfunded previously before any of this. In 2017 and 2018, I shot 2 seasons of a web series.
Yes, I forgot about this. Okay, yeah.
And that web series is called Effed, another effing web series.
Yes.
And season 1, we funded ourselves. And that was like, we borrowed someone's Canon camera, and we had 2 like light boxes, and we used, like, once upon a time, back in my day, the iPhone like headphones, had the like were connected and had the little speaker like at the in on the thing. So we just threaded that through people's clothes, and it acted like a lav. And then we just used the like voice memo for our for our sound. So everything was just sort of like spit in a Band-Aid. And when we did it with like $2,000. And then season 2, we were like, we'd love to hire a sound guy and hire a cinematographer and like actually do this. So we raised money for season 2. So I had done crowdfunding once before.
How many episodes per season?
I think there were 8 in both. And they're short. They're like 10 minutes long.
Yeah, great.
Yeah. So that was really like, I I knew nothing about film, and it was like a real crash course in how to do it all. And so I knew enough to sort of, I really wanted, if I was going to raise money and be really serious about this, I wanted to be able to point to something, to be like, here's what I can do on my own. And here's how I've spent the time figuring out what I need so that I'm not wasting somebody's money when I do finally end up raising money. So I felt like I needed to sort of like play in my own sandbox so that I could be really respectful of people's money, which is why I sort of then graduated to raising money for larger shorts. And I wanted to do that before I then raised the most money, which might kill me, to do a feature. So that, again, I've taken all these stepping stones of being like, I'm only here because I did this here, and I'm ready to take on this larger role.
Yeah.
But I also sort of, I sort of think hit this ceiling of, this is as much as I can do with my resources, and now I need more to grow.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, unless you have a trust fund.
Yes, not in my lifetime. Maybe in my maybe in Tybalt's grandchildren's lifetime.
Well, we know how much Taylor Swift's cats are worth, and I only aspire to have a fraction.
I mean, my mom likes to say, she's like, when I come back in my next life, I would just like to come back as a treasured pet. That sounds like
For
a really
celebrity.
great life.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. World with Taylor. That sounds great.
So talk to us about posts for No One Likes a Mad Woman. Did you go the festival route? What was kind of going through your head on, did you know you want to make the feature? When did that come in?
I knew I wanted to make the feature, did take the festival route, and absolutely no one liked the film. In fact, no one likes a Mad Woman. We were like shortlisted at Dumbo, and then I think I got into like one of those like online festivals that don't really mean anything. But I learned a lot. And I mean, like, looking back now with as much love and kindness as I can give 2021 Teresa, if anyone said to me, like, can I see the proof of concept to consider investing in the feature? I'd be like, no. I've learned a lot in between the time, and please look at my pitch deck, my lookbook, and we'll give you or my more recent short films. It will give you a better sense of sort of like where we're going and what the vibes are. But I had a bi-coastal team, and so it let me start to learn. I think because post can happen anywhere. So like my editor was in Chicago and our composer was in LA. And then like the production team was in New York. So that has now been something that has been true for all of my subsequent projects. So it allowed me to sort of know how to navigate post in this post-COVID era. And I mean, holistically, I have not had great success with film festivals. I find them very challenging. I sort of feel like they're a big popularity contest at this point. And I think if you don't have a big name in your film, or you're not like, buddy with the programmer, like, it's not going to happen. So
yeah,
I mean, I will also say that like every single rejection I get from Film Freeway makes me want to die a little bit.
and it's some of it's the money too.
It's that, totally. And it's also just sort of like, then I sometimes like I don't know, I won't speak for you. I don't like sit and watch my short films every day. So, like there'll be like long stretches of time where it's like I haven't seen it in a while, but all the feedback I'm getting from the project is like rejection and rejection and rejection. And then you're like, maybe I made a bad film. And then you go back and watch it for like whatever reason. And you're like, no, actually, it's not
I
bad.
like this.
Well, and you get the stats of just like, I think Sundance said today, like they had 1,000 submissions for 100 slots.
Yeah, it's absurd. And I wish that there was I wish that there was like a more realistic way to navigate that.
Yeah.
I also wish that there was sort of like a screener where like, if you don't have a chance in hell, then like, we're just not going to take your money. Because sometimes it feels like a money grab, which also feels icky.
Absolutely.
But then I also go and I watch things and I'm like, how did this get in? Like, who pitched this?
No, I had a few of those. Like, we were just at Whistler and everyone's like, it's so hard to get into Whistler. It's so insane you guys got in. And we get the numbers of how many submissions there were and how many films. And so, like, I went to a couple short film blocks and like a lot of projects were phenomenal. Absolutely.
Of course.
There was definitely a few that I was like, How? When you like, I know friends that didn't get in, and I understand there's a lot you're trying to balance and different perspectives and whatnot, but yeah, there is definitely a lot of that.
I mean, I feel like we ran into that a lot with Inner Child. Like, I think the problem with Inner Child is that it's just not enough in one direction. It's not weird enough to be like genre or absurd, but it's also like too weird to be just like a straight down the line drama. So I just sort of think it straddles the genres in a way that make it sort of be like, I don't know where to put this.
Yeah. It's so hard.
Love it for us.
Yeah, you were asking
I was
something.
I was saying I feel like so much of it has to do with the block that who has already gotten accepted and just where you fit. If your film fits nicely nestled in with all the other ones. So I feel like it's so hard to say it's because a film is better than another one. It's just like it just happened to fit whatever kind of comfortable little package they were trying to make.
Yeah, that's the other thing too, is like, because I heard some programmers talk at Tribeca and they were like, we just sort of see what gets submitted and then we like pick our vibe from there. And you're like, I don't know how to prepare for that. How am I supposed to know if like my vibe is going to be like right? So I'm just sort of like, you sort of need to like give me some sort of guidance of like, these are the blocks that we're seeking to fill. Just sort of like whether or not you were like the zeitgeist vibe is like, how would I know that?
And
but
like,
also
don't
like, it's not like
charge
you're not,
$50.
it's not like you're, exactly. It's not like you're going to discount me because I didn't fit the vibe of this year.
Yeah.
But because they were like, it's so hard. I'm like, and yet you'll take my money. So like, how hard is it?
Or like, a lot of people watch films or they put them up on Vimeo. You can see the stats. You can see it wasn't viewed the whole way through. It was only viewed a certain amount.
Yeah.
It's interesting for Whistler, we got put in a block called Consumed, and it's like about the things that consume us, which I was like, oh, that was so spot on for like what our short is about.
Yeah.
But then, you can go festival, and it's like, I don't understand. It's such a broken system, and it doesn't think. I think there was maybe a time when it accomplished a little bit more what it said it was going to accomplish. But now I read more and more of articles of where like people are just putting their film up on YouTube, or they're putting it in different places. And then them having 5 million views on YouTube actually means more than getting a laurel from X Film Festival. So it's,
It's a journey.
All the rules
It's a
are out the
journey.
window.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I sort of think, because people are asking, like, what is the trajectory for the feature? I'm like, I don't know. That will depend on sort of like when it comes together, because like if we shoot in the spring, then we theoretically could submit for things for the following year. But if we shoot in the fall, we're going to miss all of the beginning of 2027. And like, I'm not waiting a whole year just because we missed the festival circuit. Like, fuck that. That is absurd.
Yeah.
And just sort of like that will depend on like what markets we attend, who we attached and who actually ended up playing the role. And then, we'll just take it from there. But I'm like, I don't know. There's so many unknowns between now and then.
Yeah.
Well, it's you see both sides, which I think is what drives me a little crazy too. Of like, I remember listening to one of the podcasts talking about like, we just submitted like our raw cut or something to like Sundance or South by, and they get in. But then I hear other people say, if you don't submit by the early window, like don't even bother because they program half the festival. So it's like, what is like,
which is it, or like our team was told like, do not submit a rough cut. If it is not done, don't send it.
But then you hear of people that do, they get in and they're like, we were
exactly.
doing the final color grading and the sound and stuff like a week
the
before.
night before.
Yeah.
I just feel like people also love to like embellish those stories, or just sort of like they love the like drama of it all because they love to be the exception. That's not. I'm just sort of like, they're not talking to us. That's not for us. That's not our journey.
That's so real.
So it's fine. We'll figure it out.
So speaking of your journey, so you are working on No One Likes a Mad Woman now as a feature, your first feature. Where in the process are you currently? Pre-pro, we know, but what mountains have you climbed already?
Not officially pre-pro. We sort of are straddling that, like, we're still raising money. We will dive bomb into pre-production the second we are greenlit. So right now it's a little bit of a holding pattern while we try to raise our gap. We have some talent attached. We've been building a creative team. We have a director, a cinematographer, a production designer, a costume designer connected to the project.
Very
It's
nice.
a three producer team, all women.
Yay.
The script is locked, and so now it's just finding the money. And we've raised some, so like we have begun the journey, but we don't need the whole thing to start. We just need enough to get through production. So, I mean, we have a couple of warm leads, and we're in communication with someone right now to sort of like come on as a consulting entity. So everything is but it's all very chicken and egg, you know? Like we have calls next week. We have calls next week for like potential attachments for the other lead, you know, but their team is like, well, are you fully financed? And you're like, we're working, you know, but then like you talk to the financiers and they're like, well, do you have
Who's
leads
attached?
And you're
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
and you're
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
one of you has to go first. And so like you have to be on these weird parallel tracks where you're like partially funded. We have people who've agreed to attach with the partial funding. Great.
Yeah.
You know, and then that sort of like encourages people to give more money, which encourages other people to attach. And so you're just sort of like, you've just got to sort of juggle multiple balls in the air and sort of like hope that they all sort of like land together, which is just a real journey. We've been really successful, and I think it's all a game of like who you know. Like everyone attached to the project, someone on the team has a personal connection with.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I just sort of think that is always the way.
Yeah.
That it's all about who you know, and it's all about getting somebody at exactly the right time and sort of offering them the thing that like they need or are missing.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest thing to learn as a producer is like you need things, but you need to figure out how to fill a hole that someone else has to get what you need. That it's a give and a take. It's not just that you have your hand out, but you're like, I'm going to offer you this if you give me this.
Yeah.
And you've got to like make it really shiny, you know, like mean, like, because we're trying to raise money. We're trying to like connect with people in South Carolina, and most people in South Carolina have no relationship to the film industry. So it's also like an educational opportunity of like, here's the reality of, because, you know, some people are like, ooh, Hollywood. And you're like, no, relax. Not that, you know, but it's also like, what do you want? Do you want to come be on set? Do you want to go to the wrap party? Do you want to be at our local premiere? Like, what do you want?
Yeah.
I want to give you a little peek behind the curtain. I specifically want to show you what independent film looks like, because you have like, you know, what the studio showed you, you know, or like what La La Land showed you. And I want to show you like what's more real.
Yeah.
And what could happen in your backyard. And then, I mean, the big conversation we're having with people in South Carolina is that independent filmmaking boosts your local community and your local economy. And we're going to connect with small businesses. And this is something that could consistently feed your people outside of the film industry.
Yeah.
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 And so that's all very challenging.
Yeah. You've got
I feel the same way
catering, you've
about
got lodging and
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. And like the local sandwich places. I feel the same way about like small towns that have a summer theater, you know, a professional summer theater. You get an influx of people coming to see the shows and perform in the shows. Suddenly this like small little town is bustling and people are busy, and it's so good for the community and for the economy.
Yeah. I mean, I had a call yesterday with somebody to be like, I want to work with your like tourism department. I want to help show people. I was like, this is a witch film. People will be interested in coming to see where we shot. And then at the same time, it'll be like, this local coffee shop gave us coffee for a week. This is where we got our lunch. Like, we want to plug as many people into your community as possible to tell the story, not just of our film, but of your town and your county.
People could go on a Mad Woman tour. You could go, you know, you could set up, here's the spots to go see.
It's like, I want to speak to your Chamber of Commerce. I want to speak to your small business, you know, commission. I want to speak with tourism. There are so many ways I can plug into your community, and we bring that to investors. And we're like, this money, makes this movie, but this money employs your local businesses right now.
Yes.
Yeah. And keeps their doors open.
You know, and then like, you know, we'll have the people who are on the film like tag, you know, the city, so that there's a little geotag on social media. Like, there are ways in which we can all benefit from this. And that's the beauty of independent film. And I think the thing that not everyone fully understands yet is that
And
like
why-
it's a village, and it's a village that extends outside of the film industry.
Yeah.
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 So why South Carolina for you, for listeners at home?
So myself and my co-producer Suzanne are both from South Carolina, and we've been working with our alma mater. So I went to Clemson University, and Suzanne went to the Governor School of Arts and Humanities. They both have newly created film departments. So we're connecting with the educational component to create opportunity for these students to have real world experiences, to build their resume, to have an IMDb credit, to leave with industry connections. Because
That's incredible.
in South Carolina, so we're going to shoot in the mountains, which is the upstate. So South Carolina is like three regions. The upstate, which is more mountainous, the Midlands, and then the lowlands. And 98% of production happens in the lowlands. So it happens in Charleston and the sort of like coastal area.
Mm-hmm.
We
Marsh.
need Appalachias. So we need the woods, we need the mountains, which is
Yeah.
where I'm from, which is where Clemson is, which is where the Governor School are. They're all local to the upstate.
Gotcha.
And then on top of that, we've been spending the last year connecting with upstate filmmakers. And because there's little to no production that happens there, they don't have an expansive resume and expansive experience. They mostly work on short films and commercials,
Mm-hmm.
which then makes them less competitive. So it's just this ugly cycle. I think it's the same ugly cycle that like women in film have, right? Like your resume is not
Yeah,
very
yeah,
good, so
yeah.
then you're not very competitive, so you're not getting the job, so you can't build your resume. So we're connecting with students, but we're also connecting with the local people who are interested in this industry, but there's no
Mhm.
production happening there for them, so that we can
Yeah.
create this network, and we can keep our budget kind of low because we're not filming in a larger industry city. So things are just generically cheaper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that also brings down our budget, lowers the need that we have to raise, helps us keep everything sort of cost efficient. And then in turn for our investors, we have a lower threshold to hit so that we can like gain profits faster. So it's all beneficial,
And there's a
it
tax
all
It's all
credit,
feeds into
right?
each other.
mutual.
There is a tax credit, and there's a brand new tax credit in South Carolina. So they're piloting this tax credit. So it's 25%.
Yeah.
That is a cash rebate, not a tax. So we would be able to get that tax rebate after shooting and use it for post-production.
Wow. Yeah.
Huge.
So smart.
Yeah.
So smartly considered.
So yeah, we already have an intern connected to the project
Yeah.
who's going to be working as like a producer. I was like, there's definitely work for you to do pre-production. So come on board. And then you also get the opportunity to be a fly on the wall, and you get to a peek behind the curtain in a way that like I would have killed for in school.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Because
invaluable.
these are the things that like I always campaigned for in school. Like I remember we had this like assignment once that was like, you have $1 billion. What will you do with it? And I was like, no time in my life will I have this much money. Let me be more practical.
Yeah.
They were like, write a grant for $1 billion. And I was like, I would love to write a grant, like actually for the school or like actually for the department, something that's more real world.
Yeah.
Because now it turns out it's sort of like in my life now, I am sort of like, yeah, whatever, it's monopoly money. Like, who cares? Because you also have to sort of play this game of like, the money comes when the money comes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But also
that
we have no money. So
trust
how
fall.
do we make it with no money?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
So it also sort of feels like a shell game where you're just sort of like asking people to like come along on this journey with you, and you're like, it'll all puzzle piece itself together eventually. And
Yeah.
you just have to have a little like faith and trust and pixie dust that it's gonna happen.
Yeah, you do. Do you have to have such a blind faith and optimism in this journey? And I think actually the hardest thing as I think about now making a second feature, I have to like hype myself. It's like when you've broken a bone and or gotten surgery before and you know what the recovery was like. It's almost worse because you have to go through it again.
Because you know the pain.
Like the second time.
Yeah. And I would say that I sort of like it's not even the bad news that's like hard. It's just the like it's the rise and the fall. It's like the big pendulum swings of like we get really good news, we get really bad news. we get our hopes up, they get dashed. And sort of like,
Yeah.
if I could live something, if I could live in one or the other, that would be great. But like the back and forth is the worst
It's
part of it.
hard.
It's
Yeah.
really hard to
Yeah.
like sort of like find equilibrium in that chaos.
Yeah, the one
There
step
were
forward,
so
two
many
steps
moments.
back.
Yeah.
Yes.
I just would be like, oh my God, we got, blah, blah, blah. And then within a week, like 12 bad things would happen. And I'm just like
Yep.
crying, walking up to the Hollywood Hills sign. Like, what am I doing with my life?
Yeah, exactly. And sort of just like riding that wave, like learning to ride that wave feels like the actual feat, and everything else is just like the friends we made along the way. Find like being able to tread water in that hurricane is really challenging.
Yeah.
Hurricane.
What is that book on writing, Bird by Bird? Like,
No, I don't know that one.
just, oh yeah, it's, the idea of if you had to, if this is going to be bastardized, but if you had to like, how would you start if you had to categorize every bird in the world and bird by bird? So the baby steps, just the one thing, first thing on the list, check it off. Then the next thing, check it off. Like, just kind of reminding yourself to maintain that perspective of like, okay, what can I do today? I can check this little thing off, and that actually solves a bunch of problems or creates more. Who knows? But that's tomorrow's bird.
Yeah. Yes. And then what I've been also finding too, I guess like in the last like week and a half, I've really been like, you have to have a life outside of this.
Yes.
Like this has consumed my
Yeah.
every waking moment. And which is
Yeah.
like why I text you guys, be like, I'm crashing out.
Yeah. Oh,
And then I was like, you're not doing like literally anything else. Like I was like,
Yeah.
you need to pick up your cross stitching. You need to pick up your Nintendo Switch. Like you don't have to, it does not need to be like every week. Cause I was like full pre-fall spiral of like not eating, not
Yeah.
sleeping, and just sort of like nothing is happening in those spaces.
no.
And like you need to be able to like step away, clear your brain,
Yes.
rejuvenate, then come
Heal,
back. And like
recuperate.
stepping away doesn't mean you're like that, whatever like that is ultimately is going to help the film. Even if it's not
Yes.
directly touching the film, which is also like very challenging for me because I'm like, if I don't obsess about it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, it'll never get made. And you're like, if you do that, it will never get
No,
made.
no.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
you need that time to recalibrate. And like, I'm a firm believer in like, pick up your knitting, something that is just a complete break so that your brain is probably going to problem solve so much quicker if it's been rested, if it's been rejuvenated.
Yes. But we can't take a break. Let's work all the time.
No,
Run
hustle
yourself into
culture
the
is
ground.
not good for artists.
So
Like,
bad.
it's not
It's
good
so
for
bad.
artists.
I just love the horns. They're like such a like metaphor.
Just a cacophony. That is what it sounds like in my brain 100% of the time.
Was that me? The horns? Sorry.
Who it is?
No,
It sort of
It sounded like
it sort of
both.
feels like it's everyone.
A bunch
just
of
start
horns at
panic.
once.
Well, I'm just sort of like, I need to feel something. So I have pierced my ears twice. So now I have 3 holes,
In your ears.
which is, yes, which has brought me just like immense joy. But it was also like, I need to go do something.
Yeah. Something for you.
Surfing really helped me. Like surfing was not just like for shredded, but like actually going and surfing was actually really good for the like just the metaphor of like, sometimes you stand up on the wave and you ride this amazing wave and you're like, I'm a fucking killer surfer. I'm kick ass. Nothing can. And then the next wave's like, bam. You're like, all right.
No.
Yeah.
All
Picturing a line of adrenaline junkies between the 3 of us. I'm like, okay. I
Definitely.
see. I need to feel something. Let me get pierced.
Truly.
Yeah.
Hatted.
My second lobe was like, my sister came for the screening of Inner Child, and we were just like a little drunk, and I was like, I just really wanted to get my second hole, and she was like, let's just go. So that was like a
Yeah.
drunken like,
Full
let's do
parent
it.
trap.
But then I got my cartilage pierced, and I was just sort of like, I've been thinking about it, and I'm just gonna do it because I need to do something. I need to be successful in one area of my life. I have control over my earscape.
I need to check one
That's
thing
so
off the
funny.
list.
Yeah.
Truly. And what I think is like difficult is like, because I work in fitness, like fitness used to be something where I was like, okay, I'll go work out, but like working out is also work. And so
Yeah,
there is,
yeah.
I don't have that
Yeah.
break in the same way.
Yeah.
So now I have to go to other things like disassociate with romantasy books and get my ears pierced.
Yes.
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 Oh my wing,
Yeah.
let's go.
This girl, just you girls. Just
I
a little
had
snack.
to. I read the first 3 books we were probably a month out from Echo or a
Yeah.
month and a half out. And yeah, it was that head of just like so many things. It was so many problems to solve. They weren't impossible, but just like the peak of problem solving. And I was like, I'm going to go into my 4th wing book because this makes me happy.
When I tell you I drank from Blood and Ash, it is 6 books. I read them in a month and a half. Just like aggressive.
Yeah.
From Blood and Ash.
That's coming next for me.
Yeah.
Or ACOTAR. Yeah.
It was great. Do ACOTAR. I read ACOTAR 3 times. I could talk nonstop about ACOTAR. I will say From Blood and Ash was like a little slow. And in the first book, I was like, I think I'm going to put this down. I cannot finish this. And then I finished it and read the second one and we were fucking gone.
We were going. Okay.
6
okay,
books
good to know.
later, I was like, wow, what a journey. Now I need more.
Well, talk to me about, I think this is all like such essential. Let's talk about how we all actually feel when we're trying to do all of this, because we feel alone and crazy and like we're the
Yes.
only ones going through it, and we're not. But talk to me too about, coming back from Pure Bar. Obviously, there was a point when unemployment ended, how you balance, because this is, I mean, you both live in the most expensive city in the United States. Congratulations. It's very expensive to live in New York. I know I've gone through my journeys and how that's worked out, but balancing like this monumental task of getting a feature off the ground, making money, being an actor in auditions, and what that's kind of looked like for you.
Well, I can tell you I got dropped by my rep, so there are no auditions right now.
Oh my God. New York reps or something.
I'm sorry,
All right.
but also maybe congratulations.
okay.
Like, yeah,
It's
finding
fine.
some better
Yeah.
alignment.
They dropped me like 3 weeks ago. Just like in the thick. I was in the thick of my absolute meltdown. And I was like, I got the email and they were like, unfortunately, we'll not be renewing. And I was like, well, that's perfect. Good talk.
Cool.
So I'm repless.
Same
But
girl.
it's not like I was like, but it's not like I was swimming in,
Yeah.
auditions. So like, take it with a grain of salt. So 0 auditions right now. So really all of my energy is on raising money and making
Yeah.
money.
That might be a good thing.
That's, yeah.
Yeah. And like, so I was supposed to, so for Mad Woman, I have to go back to my natural hair, which is brunette and short because my character is killed for being a witch. And part of like the punishment for being a witch was that I was like, I'm not shaving my head, but we will go short and then sort of like style it in such a way.
Yeah.
Why
And
not?
sort of, because I also have to
You're
because I have to
partial.
be I
Sorry.
think wigs
Yeah.
don't look very good and also
I agree.
and also are very expensive. And so for our low budget, wigs are not real. And because my film takes place in sort of 2 timelines where like
Yeah.
in one version my character needs to have long hair and my hair
Yeah.
needs to be cut.
Yeah.
In my sort of like fever dream, I was like, we'll just like put in like clip in extensions and then just sort of like do a little updo and then that'll be like the past and then the present will be
Yeah.
short, which is my workaround.
Yeah.
And I did not go as dark as I am going darker, but we're sort of like taking it more gradually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Baby steps.
But I was also like, well, fuck it. No one's submitting my headshots. They don't mean anything. Who cares?
I can do
Yeah.
it. That's when I dyed my hair red. I just like wrote one of my reps and I was like, I'm dyeing my hair. And then I didn't have anyone else to answer to. And I was like,
Yeah. So I was like, those headshots don't mean anything. So who fucking cares anymore? And then,
They're good headshots.
they are
it'll come back
great
around.
headshot.
Yeah.
It'll come back around. Eventually I'll go back to it.
Yeah.
But for now, it's fine. I can be so fucking locked in. It makes me crazy. And also, I mean, I've been in the fitness industry for over a decade. And,
Yeah.
but I transitioned I left bar and now I do Pilates reformer and I make so much more money there than I ever did at bar so that I can have this flexibility of
Yeah.
if I need to drop a class to go to a meeting, I can. But also, I coach 15 classes a week and I just have my meetings that like are around my class schedule. Like we're like, do we go to Sundance? And I'm like, I could because I can just get those classes covered and then pick up classes on the other side. And it's not like, I will not say it's not stressful because I will be stressed because I can't help myself, but it will not be as stressful as it might be in a different reality for my work.
Fitness is nice in that sense of like, I feel like you can work a lot less hours and make
Yeah.
what you need to. Yeah.
Yeah. I made more money than I thought was possible. Like pre-COVID, if pre-COVID me knew what me was making now, I would be like, that's not possible. You're lying. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's not like I'm like living large, but like
Yeah.
I have like a little bit of breathing room. So I feel like that's all I can ask for in my
Yeah.
late 30s.
Yes.
Still pursuing the dream.
Just a little comfort.
Yeah, just the little things, a third hole getting pierced. All the bug cycle. I feel like my TBR is like over here, and it's just so massive.
I can't see it because we're little like slices.
It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. There's 7 books stacked up over there. That's not to
it.
include the 3 that are on my nightstand.
That's so much.
And and then that also sort of like allows me to, one day we'll shoot. And I'll be able to, peace out for 5 weeks and then come back and it won't be a big deal.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's
You know, and
I
then
think
I'm
it's an exciting place to be too. It's like you're right
Sure.
at the starting gate.
I know.
Right. In the meantime, it's just like like saving money and having a little cushion so that when I do have to take off the time, it's not detrimental because I've been preparing for it.
Yeah. And you're going to come out on the other side with something you have and you've shot and you're proud of your acting and you're proud of this and you wrote it. You're proud and you produced the hell out of it. Like versus, I mean, the downside of having reps is like sometimes you just dump all this time into auditions that 1, you'll never book, or 2, like you're saying 2 lines on a show or you're saying a line on a show or what. And
well,
that's
there's
if you
that.
book it.
Also, this rep was like, well, I take 15% of everything. And I was like, you're not fucking doing anything for this project. You must be kidding me.
Yeah.
But they were like, well, we represent you. So like we would take 15% of the producing and the writing and the acting. And I was like, and you would have to contribute in some way or another for that to be reasonable.
You'd have to do 15% of the work.
Yeah, like, are you going to introduce me to some investors? Like, I'm sorry, my
No,
jaw's on the floor.
Yeah. So when that happened, I was like, it's fine. Because I was going to have to fight that fight and I don't have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like this could go off on such another tangent, but
I
feel
bold
like
statement.
Yeah. If you're, and if you don't rep that anyway, like that just doesn't even make sense. Anyway.
Yeah.
My bad.
I was
go
just
down
like,
a tangent.
I know. I'm like, I could just like fall down a rabbit hole of that alone.
Yeah. Well, I think reps know they're in trouble if something doesn't pivot in the next 5 years. If that, honestly, I think like actually it might be faster because it's just commercial buyouts are a joke. And they used to make so much money off of those. Residuals are basically gone at this point. Like the whole system is so fucked, that they're going to have, I don't know what the answer is, but like something's going to have to change. But yeah.
I mean, and a lot of, I'm just sort of like, I've had a lot of reps now. A lot feels like a lot. I've had a couple of reps and I'm just sort of like, at this point, if they're not like really, if they cannot like really open doors or like really get in there, then like I can do it myself.
Yep.
Yeah.
You can meet the people that you
I'll just sort of like need to wait to have like this under my belt.
Yeah.
And I have to need to use this as a leverage point and as a tipping point, but also sort of knowing that like my strong selling point is not exclusively actor. My strong selling point is the triple threat of producing, writing, acting. And so like I'm going to need those things to get me a rep that is actually going to like do something for me in my career.
Yeah. Something that reps all of those things or opens doors for all those types of opportunities. And I mean, and especially because for writing, you have the Writers Guild, but there's no guild for producing. There is no health insurance. There is no like anything.
Well, there's the PGA. I don't know what they do.
Yes, a guild, but yeah. They've talked about a union for producers, but yeah, I don't know.
I know. Producing is always just, it's so nebulous. And even then, it's like, are you a co-producer? Are you an executive producer? Are you an assistant producer? You're just a producer?
Yeah,
and all of those mean
so
different
many
things to different people.
Yeah, totally.
So it's all just sort of like whatever you make it.
I'm just still hung up. They asked for 15% when they don't
Isn't
do
that
anything with
crazy? I was like,
sorry. I was like, did they introduce you to lit reps? Like, I'm so
no, literally
confused
nothing.
right now.
Literally nothing. They gave me like 2 casting directors that they were like, you could talk to them. And I was like, you're not going to like initiate the conversation? Like why would they take my call? Nor was it like Chelsea. Like it was not some like grand casting team that was going to like get me a big pole. So I was just sort of like, what the fuck? So, but they kept being like, well, tell us what you need. And I was like, I need to make a movie. What do you need? What do you mean, what do I need?
Yeah. Yeah.
I need money. And
Yeah.
producers, like, it's not complicated. It's fine. We're out here on our own. The like sad truth of my journey, but I think it's true for a lot of people's journey, is that sort of like, I think it's a Duplass brother who's like, the cavalry is not coming.
Yes. Yeah.
It's you. And it's always going to be you. And you think one day it's not going to be you, but the truth is it's always going to be you.
Yep. You
So the
think
quicker
this
you're like,
one
this
thing
is
gonna
my
happen.
rodeo. This is my rodeo. And I have to be the queen bee.
You're
and I'm never
the
going
Taylor
to.
Swift of your empire.
Exactly. And it's never not going to be that way. So like waiting for it to not be like that is the fool's errand. Just embrace it. This is it. I spoke to a producer who was like, I thought at a certain point I would like no longer have to do craft services, right? Like I did my part. That was my job as a PA. I graduated. I do something else. She was like, here's the truth. I'm working on a $3 million project. I'm still setting up the craft table. It's never not going to be my job. It's always going to be my job. I have other jobs, but this is always going to be my shit. She was like, so it's not that you put anything behind. It's just that you take more on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And when you look at inflation and you look at how much everything has gone up and how much the windowing of making money back on a film continues to shrink, it's the people who actually can wear the most amount of hats are going to be the people who can succeed and move forward. It's not going to be the ones. And there is a sadness to, like, I think a lot about, oh my God, if I had all this time and money to take acting classes and a writer's retreat and like, I would be so much better at my craft. Like I would be like, imagine, you look at some of the legends and like, imagine if Aaron Sorkin was just growing up right now, or imagine if, I think Greta Gerwig wore a lot of hats. Can definitely say that about her. But like some of these like legendary people, if they would have grown up in today's system and had to wear every hat that is now required of us, like there will be a lack of specialty and a lack of like genius or like, I don't even know how to phrase it. Like there's just this specialization that was so beautiful that is going to be harder and harder to hold on to just because you can't dedicate that amount of hours to that thing.
Yeah. And that's when we just all become something new.
Yeah. Everyone has to adapt.
What a treat to adapt with you all.
I know. It is. It really is. I know.
Exactly.
It's nice to know that we're not alone climbing
We're all rowing our
of a
boats
mountain
together. Like,
exactly. We'll all just eventually sync up, make a little fleet.
yeah. Like maybe we'll upgrade to a little bigger boat, a little ship or something. And
We're going to need a bigger boat. I'm sorry.
This was so good, though. It was so great to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Teresa Catherine, where can people follow you? Where would you like them to go? How can they donate to No One Likes a Mad Woman feature? Anything?
We are fiscally sponsored by Film Independent. You can find that link in bio on my Instagram. It is
And that means
Teresa
it's a
Catherine.
Tax
Yes,
deductible
it is
donation.
100% tax deductible. So if you're looking for a little end of the year tax write-off, 100% of the funds will go to production. And Film Independent is a really sick organization, so you should just check them out anyway. And I am Teresa with no H and Catherine with a C.
The best kind.
And it's the best kind. And then Maid Prince also has an Instagram. But if you follow Teresa Catherine, you probably follow Maid Prince because we do some of the co-posting. And then we're also, Madwoman has its own Instagram. It's madwoman_movie, because we're trying to sort of peel back the curtain a little bit on what it is to produce an independent feature. So you can follow along on the highs and the lows and the journey of making the project, as well as learning about the project itself. Yeah.
And we are going to have all those links in our bio as well. GateCrashers podcast landing page. And you can go through each episode and find the links that you would like to support. All right.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Teresa Catherine. Well, I'm Kat. That's Michaela. This was GateCrashers. Should we let it play out, Derek?
Yes.
Yeah. Here comes that beat. Drop in. Yeah. See you next Tuesday.